Hello everyone. Hope you all are doing good and keeping safe. Myself Ranjita and along with my team member Sudipta, we are going to present this paper recognizing panoramas. This is the overview of our presentation. We will start with feature matching and then we will talk about image matching process and then we will talk about bundle adjustment, multi-band blending and then we will show up the results and conclude the presentation. So why we need to recognize the panoramas? So let us consider a problem statement where we have a three-dimensional scene and we want to take a set of images from the scene from roughly the same viewpoint. And we will rotate our camera in such a way that we will capture the images where the field of views of the images overlap. And then later we will take all the images and create a larger image after applying stitching, and then we will create a panoramic image. So as we all know, this technology is widely available and pretty much available in all the smartphones today. It is also used in other domains like medical imaging and remote sensing. This paper talks about the fully automatic construction of panoramas. The problem statement here is to recognize panoramas as we need to know which part of the panorama joins up. Here authors have used object recognition technique which is based on invariant local features to identify the matching images. The advantage of this approach over all the previous researches is that it is insensitive to the ordering, orientation, scale, and illumination of the images. It also discards the noisy images and generates the panoramas. So here is the algorithm. So the input of our process is an unordered images. First, we will apply shift features technique to all the images and then we will apply k nearest neighbor algorithm. Then for each image, we will find the matching images after applying Rensek algorithm and then we will compute homography between pair of images. We will use probabilistic model to verify the matching images. Then we will find the connected components of the matching images and then we will apply bundle adjustment process to solve for the rotation and focal length of all the cameras. And finally, we will apply multiband blending to generate the final panoramic image. So the first step here is to identify the shift features. So shift is known as scale invariant feature transform, which is a feature detection algorithm in computer vision. It basically helps in locating the local features of an image, which are called as key points. These key points are scale and rotation invariant. So let us understand how these key points are identified. So first step here is to construct the scale space, which is a collection of images having different scales generated from a single image. The next step here is to find the important key points from the image and then we can use these images for feature matching. The idea here is to find the local maxima and minima for the images using the difference of Gaussian function. Now how to find the local maxima and minima? We go through every pixel in the image and compare it with its neighboring pixel. The generated key points are scale invariant. So once we have this scale invariant key points, we will eliminate the key points that lie very close to the edge. So later we will calculate magnitude and orientation and create a histogram for magnitude and orientation. Now we will compute invariant descriptor by preserving the gradients in orientation and histograms. So here the generated features are geometrically invariant to similarity transforms and they are robust to affine changes. Next comes nearest neighbor matching. Since multiple images may overlap, each feature is matched to its k nearest neighbor. Here in this paper, author have used k equals to 4. Also, a KD tree has been used which recursively bipartitions data at mean in the dimension of maximum variance. Time complexity of the entire process is order of n log n. So next comes the image matching step, where we need to find all the matching overlapping images. So this connected set of images will later become panoramas. So here we will apply Renset algorithm to identify the most number of matching features, which are also known as inliers. So here in this slide we can see we are given two input images, and for each image we have applied shift feature and generated the inliers. So here we can see in the next images we have applied Renset and we have the matching features. And now in the Renset algorithm, the first step is to select the feature pairs at random, and then we compute the homography matrix, and then we compute the inliers, and then we will keep the largest set of inliers. So here we can see we have discarded all the outliers and preserved only the inliers. Compared from the previous slides, we can see here we have outliers also, but as we go further, here all the outliers have been discarded and only the inliers have been preserved. So this is the final image generated after applying homography matrix. And we can see both the images are aligned perfectly. So this is the mathematical representation of homography matrix, where we parameterize each camera by rotation and focal length. So here we have used three rotation angles, theta 1, theta 2 and theta 3, and a focal length f. Here Ki represents a focal length matrix, and we have generated a pairwise homographies expression, which is basically ui tilde equals to hij and uj tilde. So now I'll hand over to Sudipta to give us a walkthrough on the next set of slides. Over to you, Sudipta.
Thank you so much, Ranjita, for walking us through the content. Let us now continue further by looking at the next step, which is the probabilistic model for verification. So, in the previous step, we have seen that we have been actually able to form panoramas. However, it is also important that we make sure that the resultant panorama is free of noise and the panoramas are as efficient as possible. To do that, we do this probabilistic modeling. So, if we go to the next slide, we'll be able to see. So here we can see the actual mathematical formula that is used for this probabilistic model. So basically, from Ransack, we have taken up all the inliers and the outliers have been discarded. Basically, inliers are the pairs of images that have been connected by some homography, while the outlier pairs are wrong, probably in some different way. So using this, we are going to do this probabilistic modeling where we use Ni and Nf, which are the inliers and the features, and then we calculate the probabilities P1 and P0, where P1 is the probability of inlier given a match, and P0 is the probability for inlier given there is no match, and P minimum is the acceptance probability. The values of P1, P0, and P min are generally supposed to remain within this constraint, which is given by Ni greater than 5.9 plus 0.22 Nm. If we go to the next slide, we can now see visually how this step actually takes place. So here we can see that there are multiple images and all the images have some sort of common feature or overlapping feature between them, which we can see through the blue arrows that we have placed here. If we further break down in the next slide, we can see here the individual pairs. So we can see that one image is not just in common with another image. There can be multiple images which have common features in between them. And here now we have separated out those particular sets. So we can see three set of images at the bottom of the page and four set of images at the right side bottom of the page, like that. If we then go to the next slide, we can see now that we have the common features between these images, we now know the actual images that need to be created or stitched together to form a panorama. Using this, if we now go to the next slide, we can see this is the resultant image that has been formed by using this method. So we can see here that not only have the images been created by stitching the different images together, the noise is also minimal in these images. Now moving on to the next slide, this is the error function that is used to make sure that the errors remain between our limits. So this is basically a sum of squared projection error, and the error function is robust to noise. And our values of fx is either modulus x or x max, subject to the conditions written here. Moving to the next slide, now we reach to the final step, that is the bundle adjustment. So now we have a panorama, we have removed noise, we have stitched the image together. However, a very important step, blending needs to be done. Blending needs to be done so that our rotation and focal length and everything matches seamlessly between all the stitched images. So if we go to the next slide, we can see here. So now we have this image that needs to be created as a panorama. There's multiple images that need to be created to form a panorama. That's blending. But the question comes, why do we need it? We've already stitched the images. The problem here is, generally, even though we consider pixel intensity will be same everywhere, it doesn't happen in reality because of various camera issues or parallax or vignette. The There might be some difference in the pixel intensities. Due to this, now we need to apply some sort of blending so that when we get the final panorama image, there is no way we can tell that there is some transition or the image looks dull at one point or more brighter at the other point. We do not want that. For that, we need this. For this purpose, the authors have used a weighted function which is given by wx comma y, which is actually a product of wx and wy. And the value of wx varies between 0 to 1. So if you go to the next slide, now we can see that this multi-band blending was actually given by Burt and Adelson in 1983, where we use a blend frequency which varies over a range of delta. Moving on to the next slide, the authors in this paper have used a two-band blending. So basically, this will prevent blurring definitely, and we use low frequency and high frequency concept. So if we have an image which has spatial frequencies of wavelength and that is greater than 2 pixels, then we consider it as a low frequency. And if that particular pixel spatial frequency is greater than 2, sorry, less than 2, then it becomes high frequency. And then we use these values to create a blended image where the low frequency info will be information we'll get using the weighted sum, and from the high frequency ones we'll select only the ones which have the maximum weight. If we now go to the next slide, we can see this is the output of a blending operation. The blending operation is linear in nature, and we can see here that this image looks as if it has been captured in one go. If we go on to the next slide, we can see here two band blending. There is literally no difference, and there is no way we can make out any sort of transitions that have happened between the multiple images that were put together to form this final image. Moving on to the next slide, we can see a couple of results that the authors have shown where they have stitched multiple images together to form a single image. And again, we can see here there is no noise, there is no way we can tell that the images have been stitched together, and everything is very smooth. Finally, with this, we would like to conclude our presentation. With this, we have tried to explain the approach that has been told by the authors, where they've used invariant local features and probabilistic models to verify the image matches so that we can recognize and create panoramas which are independent in nature and do not require any user input. For future work, we would consider that further issues like radial distortion, camera motion, scene motion, and everything be considered while creating panoramas so that the images which have been impacted can also be stitched together to form a smooth, enhanced image. And also, with the invent of 3D images, we would also think that looking at creating panoramas from 3D images seems to be a promising approach. Thank you so much. Stay safe.